Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial on how to clean a Sega Genesis. This is the Model 3 and it's the worst model. Sega Genesis or Sega Master System came in three variations. You had the Model 1, which is considered to be the best, especially the one that says high definition density. High definition graphics on the top of it. Tends to have better audio quality. And then as Sega was kind of falling out of the console race, they started making worse and worse models with cheaper and cheaper material. So you got the Sega Genesis 2 and then finally the Sega Genesis 3. And you can see here it's really small. There's not a lot to it, and as we dig into it you'll also see that everything is really cheaply made, but in order to cover everything, this time we are doing the Sega Genesis 3, and you only need two tools. You're going to need a Phillips standard screwdriver and also tweezers. Find it easier to get hold of the screws using that. So now with that being said, let's tear into it. We'll just flip it over. There's going to be 4 screws, so one in each corner. Now with the screws taken out, we can just lift the lid up and reveal the insides here. And you can see there's not a lot to the lid itself, so there's one screw here and that's it. So we'll take that screws off. And again, this kind of shows you how flimsily or bad they're made. You can see this is the reset button, and it has a little like lever there, so as you're pushing that down it's just bending this on that little fault line right there, so it's just like bending that. That's all the mechanism that there is to this. So it's a piece that you might see break sometimes because people are pushing too hard on it, but makes for easy cleaning. So you can see over here that I've got the water basin hooked up, so we'll just throw that in there and keep on digging down. So I've adjusted the camera a little bit, that way we can get a better view at this right here. In order to get the dust cover off, what you need to do is be very gentle, first of all. But you might see here that it's stuck in a little bit this way, and then on that side it's barely going into its hole. There's no, like other models, it just is like, it's locked like this and you can move it in. This is an actual hole where the pin actually goes through it. So in order for this to come out, what you need to do is find the shorter end and then push in the middle. So let's see if we can show this. But basically bend it from the middle until that pops out. And then you can take the whole thing out like that. And then just throw that in the water as well. So let's see if we can show this a little bit better here. So you can see here that it's protruding through the hole a lot on this side and then just barely on this side. So you want to take the middle where it's the strongest, where that little pivot point is, and then just kind of bend while pulling so that you can kind of get it loose just like that. And again, you have to be extremely careful because it's really easy to break these. But in order to get a thorough clean of the lid, that's what you need to do. Then you got the power button here, which is easy enough. You just push this little tab in, just like so, and then just push the whole thing out. And again, you just throw all of these pieces in the water there. Now we'll focus on the main body, so I'll readjust the camera a little bit. So there we go. And you can see here it's got a screw on the side here, one over there, and one here. And it should have had a screw right there, but you know, there's always two screws on the side of these, but I only see one. So that means that someone's been into this one. There's also a screw right here and down here. So we'll take those out. And again, just having tweezers is super helpful when those screws just kind of come loose like that. There we go. So that's the RF shielding. We'll put that on the side now. I just want to show why that was so difficult to get up. You can see here where this screw has been screwed in, they've used some adhesive to get the contact properly aligned, I have a feeling, but that adhesive had also got stuck to this plate right here, you can see on the bottom here, and that's why it was getting stuck there. So we'll just take the RF shielding and just throw that in the water as well, so you can get some good clean. And then you can see here you got some dust mites, dust bunnies and so on. So we'll tear down to this a little bit more. As I said, there should have been another screw right there by the port, but we'll just take this screw, and typically, as you can see here, whenever you have a cartridge screw, they're typically longer than the other screws, general rule of thumb. So put that there, and I think that is it, yeah. So now we got the motherboard, we got some more heatsink, we'll just throw that in the water. And then same with this, so just throw that in the water so it can get soaked up, and we'll clean that. Now for any kind of circuit board, I always use my electric duster, and I would also advise to use one of these, a little respirator, especially for me, since I'm allergic to dust, which is super handy for these, you know, kind of projects. But anyways, so I'll suit up. Now, when it comes to these, I always like to use this as well. This is 1200 Grit Sandpaper, because chances are there's some corrosion or just a layer of grime and dust on the contacts here. So what I do is I just take this and just gently put it in and out of the contact slots here. What that does is it just basically exposes the metal, which is what you need to conduct the electricity used to read the cartridge. This also, of course, generates a lot of dust. So you know, I'll just go in and out a few times, not trying to use excessive force. I'm just trying to take up what possibly could be stuck down there, and then just blow it with the duster again. So with that being done, I don't need this anymore. We can keep going in here. First thing I want to do is just kind of get a feel if there's anything wrong, if any of the resistors or capacitors have blown. But it doesn't look like it. Not that I can at least see. They all look good. So I'll just do a Q-tip with some isopropyl alcohol. And just go over these points here. Especially like here, I can see that there's some kind of liquid right there. So I just clean that up. And the reason why you want to use isopropyl alcohol is because it evaporates right away, so that it doesn't leave any moisture on the motherboard. And if you use a lot, you just turn it around and use the dry end of the Q-tip. Just kind of soak that up, and of course you don't want traces of cotton just like that, so let's just take those off. There we go. So someone put a lot of glue in there. And also do this part here where it got stuck earlier, so I'll try to loosen up some of that glue so that that doesn't happen again should I need to go back into it. And of course the cartridge bay. There we go. That's pretty much all I'm going to do to that for now. Now next step is to clean all of these items, and for that I got the sink and some bar soap. And of course this has been laying in some soapy water as well, which helps. So we'll just have some running water and a toothbrush. That's really all we need. So you take any of these and just apply a little bit more hand soap. And then just be careful around the stickers, since that is paper. You could actually do some damage to those. So we'll just go around. And if you get any like markings like these here, you can see it's a little like discoloration. Just take some magic eraser and just rub that on there, and that is going to take that completely off. So, you know, just like on the corner here, so just scrape that off. Magic eraser is basically just like fine grit sandpaper with a little bit of soap. So, you know, it does wonders. Just be very careful about where you apply it, as it'll take logos off. It'll, you know, it's basically sandpaper. So if you wouldn't use sandpaper on a part, don't use this. You can also see here that, you know, it does create a trace here, so you need to wash that off as well. So I think that's pretty much it for that. And we'll do the same for the insides. There you go. And I always like to use a hairdryer just to help the drying process on. And then we'll just throw that on the towel and let it dry a little bit, and continue on to the next bit. And then we're going to do the same with every single piece. Just wash it off, dry it off, and place it on the towel. So basically that's all the pieces of a Sega Genesis Model 3, and we can start putting it all back together. So we'll start with the bottom piece here. There might be some liquid left over, so let me put the cap on the isopropyl. So to deal with any kind of moisture that might be left, especially like in the screw holes, just do some more Q-tip and just go over those. Just like so. And then we'll start by taking the bottom layer first, and we'll just align this properly like so. And then we'll take the motherboard, and I can see that there's a drop of moisture right there, so I'll just take that off. There we go. And then take the motherboard and pop that in, and then we can screw in the screw here. And you know, this model had obviously been tampered with before I got to it. Okay, there you go. So should be another screw right here, most likely, and hopefully there is one on yours. So with that screw in, we'll just keep on trucking. So put the RF shielding on, and then if you remember, the silver screw goes here. That's the one that got kind of glued down earlier. So we'll screw that in place. And then just keep going with the black screws. Missing a couple of screws, so whoever was in here was not being very thorough when putting it back together again. But oh well. So let's focus on the lid, and we'll start with the power button, and that just aligns on the front, and you just push it through those little openings right there, and have it pop out the back just like that. There you go. So that's all there is to that. Then we got the reset button, and that one we just slide underneath this little pivot here, and then screw that at the top there. Like so. And then you got these two dust covers here, and if you look at it, when you combine them, they'll create a little beveled edge here and some straight edges there. And you'll see that this is a little beveled towards the bottom. So that's the easiest way to align those, is just to, you know, reverse that. So we'll start with the back one first. So we'll have to put it all the way through that hole, and then just kind of bend it into shape. Also, before I go any further, you can see this little pivot screw right there, and that is actually going to be resting on that little like groove right there. So you just place that like so, and then make sure that that gets into its resting position, just like that, and then bend this into shape. And again, just be very careful, because it is super easy to break these things. I think I like to put it down just to get a little better grip on it. There we go. And then you do the same on the other side, and again there's a little cradle here for that pin. So we'll slide this in like so. Make sure the pin is in its cradle. And then just bend this. Just like so. You can test to make sure that it works. Flip it over, place it on top of the bottom shell, and then just screw in the 4 screws. And then the final piece is to take some Pledge Orange Clean and just put a protective coat on the machine. This will help it look brand new, but also give it some resistance to future dust. And that's how you clean the Model 3. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching my video, and please like, comment and subscribe. Also, if you are interested in buying any of these consoles that I'm showing you how to take care of, I sell all of my consoles through my own website. I'll put a link in the description below. I'll sell them through the forum, but feel free to join up on the site itself. And again, thank you so much. Also use the affiliated links down below to buy your own stuff. It really helps me out. So thank you so much.